Channing Tatum didn't want to be shirtless in the scene where he takes out the trash after his divorce, thinking it was gratuitous nudity. He played rock, paper, scissors with the director to decide. Luckily for all of his fans, he lost the bet.
I was going to say, you're casting Channing Tatum in a romance. Let's see the abs, dude. Also, this movie came out the same year as Magic Mike, so we knew.
Oh, yeah.
We knew he had
it. He was
it.
fit.
Yeah, you can't lie about it. It's under there. Welcome to the Rom-Com Rewind podcast.
Hi, I'm Sarah.
And I'm Devin.
And like you, I love rewatching movies over and over again.
Somehow you found us, educated guess. You love romantic comedies as much as we do.
So this is a show where we rewatch rom-coms, break them down a bit for you, maybe take a peek behind the curtain, dig beneath the surface, and decide, does it still hold up?
Today we have
The Vow.
And if you're listening to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever, please throw us a follow or a subscribe. I think that's changed on Apple Podcasts. I think now it's just follows. But regardless, as well, if you want to leave a review, that helps more people find us. That keeps the podcast going. That would be so greatly appreciated. We love seeing and reading your reviews. And as well, if you hear anything on this podcast or any podcast and you think, I have strong opinions about blank, great. We would love to hear your strong opinions about blank.
Or if you just want to chat.
Or if you want to chat, sure. You don't need to have strong opinions at all. Instagram at Romcom Rewind. Sarah will respond to 100% of your DMs as well on our Gmail, romcomrewind@gmail.com. We got a DM from Isabel, who said recently discovered the podcast and binged so many over the holidays. Thanks for making my house full of chatter and laughter. Help chase the loneliness away. If you take recommendations, I'd love to hear your take on Someone Great on Netflix.
I've been wanting to watch that one. I'm saving it for the pod.
Gosh, Netflix has a few bangers that we haven't really... And they're continuing to release more.
Yes.
You People's coming out soon at the end of the month.
You People.
Yeah.
That's
Jonah
on
Hill
Netflix?
And Eddie Murphy. Yeah, that's a Netflix.
Oh, I thought that was like in the movies.
Yeah. Wait, what do you mean in the
like
movies?
in the theater.
It might get a theatrical release.
Oh, I don't know.
But it is on Netflix.
Yeah.
They've started doing that now, though.
The other one, Your Place or Mine, with Reese Witherspoon's coming out,
That's
too.
right. Yeah. Have you noticed that Amazon Prime and Netflix are releasing movies at the exact same time? Like, they're really trying to compete with each other.
Well, I mean, you have to think when they're releasing it around is Valentine's Day, so that's why.
True. Your Place or Mine releases around Valentine's Day. What's the one on Amazon Prime? It's the one with Alison Brie, written by her husband, Dave Franco.
Yep.
Someone I Used to Know. Somebody I Used to Know. Someone I Used to Know. Something like that.
Yes.
It looks really good.
Somebody I used to know.
Nailed it. The Vow is a 2012 romantic drama. It's the story of Paige Collins, played by Rachel McAdams. And it's also the story of her husband, Leo, played by Channing Tatum. Paige and Leo are married. And spoiler alerts, we're hitting the spoilers right off the top because it's kind of the whole core concept of the movie. Shortly after we meet them, there is a car crash by which Paige loses her memory. She loses her memory of who Leo is, about their marriage. She loses her memory of their life together, their apartment, her friends. It's all gone. And The Vow is the story of Paige and Leo kind of picking up the pieces of the life that she lost complete memory of. And basically, it's the story of them relearning how to love each other with, I will say, some significant external factors in the way that we will get into. But your thoughts on The Vow?
Life's all about moments of impact and how they change our lives forever. But what if one day you could no longer remember any of them?
Paige, you're in the hospital. You were in a car accident.
So I've seen this movie before, and it was just as good as the first time I've seen it. It's a really, really good romance movie. It's up there, you know. It's a really good one. It's well written. I mean, it is based off of, or loosely based off of, a real story, love story. And Rachel McAdams, I mean, is just the bomb diggity. And Channing Tatum, I mean, he's wonderful as well. And I do find that they have great chemistry together in this movie. I was surprised because, you know, I think they usually do different types of movies. And I will say Channing Tatum did do Dear John, so there was also that. But Channing Tatum's done a lot of dance movies. And
Yeah.
then Rachel McAdams has done a lot of romances, but the two of them together I thought were really, really great. And it was a really nice watch. It was romantic. There are some weep warnings for Sarah in this one as well. Definitely tugs at your emotions because they're both going through so much after she loses her memory.
I agree. Tugs at the emotions. I actually didn't have a weep warning.
I know. I had two.
Devin is notorious for weep warnings, and
I know.
we've switched places. What happened?
I don't know.
Sarah's the one weeping here. I agree with you.
I'm the one weeping.
The thing for me with this movie is that there's nothing I can pick out that I really think didn't work. You know what I mean? Like everything is either B, B plus, A minus, A plus. Like everything in this movie worked in some way. There are some great films that, except for that one thing that bothered me so much. There were things that I was annoyed by and challenged by, but I think that was the point. So I'm okay with that. But yeah, like this is just it's a very well-made film. It was a very thoughtful film, and I think everything that was in there for a reason. I never felt like, why like this scene doesn't matter. Why are we talking about this? Like it was all very purposeful, I guess. You bring up Channing Tatum.
Yes, I do.
Was this peak Channing Tatum?
Oh.
Let me hit you with the list, Sarah.
Okay, I was going to say, because I can't remember when. So, Save the Last.
Tell you.
Wait, no, what did he.
Wow.
What was it? So,
Step
no.
Up. He was in Step Up.
Like, I have.
Save the Last Dance was Julia Stiles.
No, I know that. I know that. But I mean, like, I have So You Think You Can Dance, Save the Last Dance. And then what was the one? Step Up.
Step Up.
Like,
Step
I
Up
have all
was-
those in my head.
That was 06. Oh, and then there's Step Up 2, The Streets. That
Yes.
was 08, Sarah.
Okay.
Dear John was 2010, but then 2012 is The Vow.
Mm-hmm.
It's 21 Jump Street,
Oh,
and it's
that's
the
funny.
original Magic Mike. Are those not like?
Yeah. Yes.
Is this not
I
peak Channing Tatum?
I would agree that it is peak Channing Tatum, and he really had made his mark in like the Hollywood sphere at this point in time to say like, I can do comedy, I can do romance, and I can do a dance movie.
That's it.
Throw me in, coach.
100%. Like it's different roles. I think we see his abs in all three, so that's
Love
the one
it.
consistent thing. But
He's consistent. I mean, you can't go wrong.
consistent. And then after this, it's kind of like his career just continues on a nice trajectory. I think because he had a couple massive years where it really shot him into, okay, this guy's a superstar.
And then they did 22 Jump Street, right?
That's right, in 2014.
Which also was really good. I died laughing at that movie.
Something, I don't even know if it's appropriate for me to bring this up or not.
We'll see.
Just because now I'm on his IMDb and I'm looking through his stuff, I didn't realize he has a movie on the way, Sarah. Do you know what it's called?
Magic Mike.
Well, that's coming out this year, but no, it's in post-production, doesn't have a release date yet. Channing Tatum is going to be in a movie called Pussy Island.
Oh, wow. No, I
yes.
did not know that. Is it about cats?
I didn't.
Just kidding.
Great question. You're asking the right questions. He plays a character named Slater King, so I'm assuming it's not about cats, but let's just make
Wow.
sure. Zoe Kravitz is the director. Oh, it's a thriller film. A cocktail waitress becomes infatuated with a tech mogul and travels with him to his private island, which I'm assuming is Pussy Island.
Oh,
And things
my
go wrong
God.
there.
Well, he's dating Zoe.
Oh, are they dating?
I'm pretty or they're hanging out.
He's definitely the star of this. Oh, Christian Slater's in it too. He could be the tech mogul as well. Very strange.
It kind of reminds me. What's the bad guy in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Shit.
That's what it reminds me of, though. Like his character's name. Like when you said Pussy Island, and then when you said his name Slater. Well,
we
just
need to-
because he always strokes his cat.
I don't. Wow. You're right. I don't even know if I should have brought this up. I saw it and I couldn't not mention it. I feel weird that we went down the Pussy Island road, though.
Okay, wait, hold on. I actually do want to.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to figure it out too.
Shredder.
Shredder. That's right.
It's Shredder. Yes. Slater, Pussy Island, stroking cats.
Let's dive into it, shall we? Let's talk about The Vow.
You're welcome.
This has not been a glowing recommendation for whatever the Pussy Island is. Like,
Well, I probably won't watch it.
I was gonna say, we
unless it's about cats.
definitely haven't sold it on anybody.
Okay. You're right. Okay, so the movie starts out with them walking to their car, both Leo and Paige ending their night, and they get rear-ended, and she flies through the front of the car and ends up in a coma.
It was really intense.
It was very an intense scene, for sure.
Is that one of the heaviest openings in a romantic comedy? Here are the nominees. Just Like Heaven. I'm pretty sure Reese Witherspoon also gets into an accident, but we only see like the headlights approaching her, I think.
Right.
And like the...
It's like a C.
Forgetting Sarah Marshall. He gets broken up with in the nude. Poor Jason Segel. I think that's kind of heavy, maybe.
So funny. It's not heavy.
Jersey Girl, though. Jennifer Lopez dies in childbirth. That was pretty intense.
Yeah, it was.
Time Traveler's Wife. I haven't seen it in so long. I'm pretty sure he gets shot in the forest in the beginning. Also in the nude, a weird trend.
Wait, he gets shot in the woods nude?
Yeah, because like every time he time travels, I'm pretty sure he loses his clothes.
Okay, I was gonna say I have so many questions.
So he like shows up in the spoiler alert for Time Traveler's Wife.
I was gonna say like
he leaps through time into the woods, and he's naked, and there's like a hunter who like
that is awful.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
I'm gonna fact check that. Somebody's gonna DM us that I was incorrect about that. I'm gonna look it up.
Fact check it for sure.
But yeah, so that's how the vow starts.
Yeah. After she ends up in the hospital, she is alive. She does survive the accident. But Leo talks about moments of impact in life and how they change your life when they happen. They can be good. They can be bad. I did love this piece to the movie. It actually brought in so much more emotion to the beginning scenes of this movie. And I mean, I talked to you about it after you watched the movie, and I was like, the moments of impact were so impactful, for me in this movie. And then I thought to myself, like, what are the moments of impact in my life? You know, our son being born, getting married, you know, my dad passing away. All these things are moments of impact in your life that change your life and can change your life in so many different ways. Anyway, I reflected on that, and that kind of was something that was impactful for me in this movie.
And it really, like I talked about off the top, how this movie felt very purposeful with a lot of things. They keep on coming back to these moments of impact throughout the film that I think just kind of pulls it all together. Where like, okay, everything here makes sense as we tell this story.
There weren't things in this movie that you were like, oh, like they forgot about this piece.
Right.
They forgot to tie this piece in. It was all done nicely at the end of the movie. Leo is at the hospital every single day. We go through flashbacks of their relationship. When they met, they started dating. You know, she was sick, so the box of stuff that he brought her, like a little care package. You know, when they get married in a museum, when they weren't actually allowed to do that, kind of showing their spontaneous, rebellious side, and how they lived every single moment of life, loving life, and going with the flow, which I thought was really, really cute. So Paige is in the hospital. She finally wakes up, and we find out that she has absolutely no idea who Leo is.
You hit your head, but you're okay. We just kept you asleep for a little while.
How do you feel?
Yeah, it hurts.
Yeah, well, that's perfectly normal. I'll get you something for that.
Is anyone else hurt, Doctor?
Hey, you know who I am, right?
Yeah? You're my doctor.
After he confirms, like, yes, I'm married to you. I'm your husband. You live in the city with me. You're a sculptor. And she says, no, I'm a lawyer. Like, I'm in law school going to be a lawyer. Like, that's my, you know, whatever. And we find out, you know, that she has had this whole life. She doesn't actually remember the last 5 years of her life. And we find out the next day when Leo goes back to the hospital that she's moved up to the VIP floor, and he goes up there to find Paige's parents have arrived and moved her up there. Turns out Leo has never met her parents because Paige hasn't spoken to them in 5 years. Her parents obviously want her to go back home with them, and Leo chimes in saying no, like the doctor just said she needs to go back to her normal life, which is with me. Ultimately, Paige does agree to go back with Leo, but she's a little bit reluctant. So she says, like, I don't know if I love you or not. So before I go, like, I need you to prove to me that I love you. And so he does bring a recording or a voicemail of her to him. And it's really, really sweet. And she's like, okay, I guess I do love this dude that I don't know who I thought was my doctor. I'll go home with him.
Which is also this is set in the 90s. And you can tell because nowadays if somebody's like, well, prove that we love each other. Oh, I've got like 5 million text messages on my phone. I've got 1,000 videos of Sarah and I. Like, it would be so easy to prove that we are married. Whereas in the 90s, it's like, oh, I think I got a few photos at home.
Yeah. You think it's set in the 90s?
Well, isn't...
Well, the accident did occur for the true story in the 90s. I guess right. I just never thought that it was set in a time period. I just kind of was like, oh, la la la.
Yeah, well, because the true story did happen in the 90s.
Yes, in 1993.
And I think... I mean, you tell me. If I lost my memory and you were like, shit, I need to prove to Devin that we're married.
Here's Instagram.
Here's my Instagram. Yeah, look at us. Look at all the traveling we've done.
But in 2012, I mean, there was these social media pieces around, yes.
For sure, Facebook.
So yeah, maybe, okay. So Paige doesn't remember the life with Leo. She remembers being in law school, being engaged to a guy named Jeremy, not having any of the friends she currently has. And essentially you tell from right after her accident, she is a different person. The way she wants to dress, the way she thinks her hair is ugly, like things that she did normally in her current life, she thinks is weird. And so we begin to see that she is having a really hard time being pulled back into the direction of what she was 5 years ago. So Leo tells Paige that she did break off her engagement, that she went to the Art Institute to become a sculptor, that she moved to the city. These were all choices that she made prior to having her accident because she doesn't believe that she actually left all of this, this life to go and live with Leo and live a different life.
And there is a key piece that we learn very close to the end of the movie about, for example, why Paige doesn't talk to her parents anymore. And it is pretty impactful, let's say. Yeah. And it does make sense why she would stop speaking to her parents. But yeah, at this stage, she doesn't know any of the backstory. So she's like, why in the world would I no longer talk to that's crazy. Of course I'm friends with my parents still.
Yeah. So Paige does go home, as I mentioned, with Leo, and there's a surprise party waiting.
Such a bad idea.
I mean, talk about overwhelming a person.
Leo.
This was one thing that I was like, okay, dude, like, bad call. Like, why would you ever think that this was a good idea?
Like, my wife, who doesn't remember me, has brain trauma. They literally said her brain is not done swelling.
Yeah.
And he's like, let's just grab a bunch of people you used to know but no longer know and toss them in a tiny room together with you.
So the next morning he makes her a sorry breakfast and he runs through her day, what she does. And she says, you know what, I'm going to take it easy. And he heads to work. He owns a recording studio. While she's at home, Paige finds their wedding video and she watches it.
To always hold you with tenderness. And to have the patience that love demands. To speak when words are needed, and to share the silence when they're not. To agree to disagree on red velvet cake.
Question. So they're both trying to do things that will jog Paige's memory. Mm-hmm. Do the things that you did in your normal life or whatever.
Yeah.
Let's play this out for both of us.
All right.
If I lost my memory, what would you do to be like, okay, this is going to get Devin's memory back?
Oh, I mean, you know what? I would pull a 50 First Dates, record myself on a VHS and buy a VHS player specifically and pop it in and show you every day until you remember. No, I'm totally kidding.
Wait, I was gonna say, that's not the same memory loss.
No,
Drew Barrymore's memory loss is totally different.
No, I know.
Nice reference, though.
You know what? I would do something probably very similar to what Leo's doing, and I'm not saying it because that's the easy thing to say. I would probably bring you to all the places that you would remember both of us being at.
Be specific. What are we thinking?
So, like, there's a park by our house that we went on one of our first dates, and I would kind of bring up similar things that, like, we talked about at that point. I'd show you, that you kept a receipt from our very first date.
That's right. Well, do you even know where the receipt is?
No, you never told me.
wow.
I didn't even know you kept it. Anyway.
It's right here in this desk beside us, actually. Yeah. So there it is. If I ever lose my memory, the receipt's right in here.
Good to know. Thank you. Restaurants that we went to on dates and things like that. Like I try to recreate certain moments of impact for us that may jog your memory back for us.
I agree. I would, and I think that's maybe Leo's problem is that they don't really have a whole lot of that. Like, oh, where do we meet? At a parking spot. And he does eventually bring her to the parking spot, but it's not like...
Well, see, I would disagree.
It's not as visceral. We went on a first date at a restaurant, so it's like,
Yes.
This was the table right here. I got poutine and had a beer, like
you did.
but like, I think that's more immersive to recreate than like, that was the parking spot right there.
I mean, I'll talk more about it in like my best scene because, he does
That was your
recreate
best
this.
scene. Okay, all right.
So I think part of that would help bring back her memory if she had any, or at least show her that they did have a life together, that they did do things together. But yeah, that's probably what I would do.
The last thing I would do for Sarah
Oh God.
is I would sit you on our living room couch. I would set you up with our laptop.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, here's what you're watching. Gilmore Girls. How I Met Your Mother. Scandal. Supernatural. Chicago Med. Chicago PD. Just like all the... What else?
Chicago Fire.
Chicago... How could I forget the Chicago trifecta?
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Jeez. Just all the stupid stuff. The Agent Carter, right? Throw that in the mix.
Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, well, Friends.
Oh, how could you forget Friends?
How could you forget? But no, you're right. I think, and you know what? That would actually help with, or even like TV shows or things that happened in the last 5 years that would help jog your memory for like current events.
Oh, good
Because
idea.
you have to remember, like, does she forget everything that's happened in the past 5 years?
Oh my God.
Right? Like, that's a big question. Has she forgotten everything that's happened? She asks at one point, who's the president?
And he's like, Obama. And she's
Yeah.
like, the senator? And he's like, yeah, you
voted.
for
And she's
him.
like, I did?
what?
Like, so I think she has forgotten all those current events. So those may jog, her memory.
You need one of those like YouTube roundup videos, everything that happened in
2022.
2022. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So she does go, Paige does go to the mnemonic cafe where they wrote their vows on the menu. And she has the usual. She finds out she has a usual there. So that's a frequent place that they go. It doesn't jog her memory though, but she can't find her way back to the apartment. So she calls her mom because that's the only number that she knows off by heart. So Leo's going crazy trying to find her. And she shows up back at the apartment later on, all dressed up in different clothes and, says, oh, my mom picked me up and we're invited for dinner that night. At dinner that night, they do find out that Paige's sister, Gwen, who she also hasn't spoken to, is engaged and will be in the next few months planning a wedding. So the whole crew after dinner, when I say this, I mean Leo, Paige, the sister, and the soon-to-be brother-in-law go out after dinner. And you see this old life that she had, her old high school friends, prior to her moving to the city, and she lived a whole different life. And Jeremy shows up,
The ex, but she, based on her memory loss, she still thinks that they're engaged, or she thought that they were still engaged.
Yes, and her eyes light up and seem like she seems so in love with him, and like, again, totally different person. So the next day, Paige goes to see Jeremy, the ex, in his office. She finds out that she actually dumped him before their wedding, and that she had changed and wanted to break up with him. And it turns out like he's moved on, but obviously she hasn't in her mind. And so they actually kiss.
Shout out to the actor. You know what his name is?
Oh my God, I do actually, but for some reason I'm blanking.
Scott Speedman.
Yes.
What a great freaking name.
That is a good name.
He needs to be an actor. Good job. Good choice.
So Paige goes back home and tries to make a collage of everything and her life through pictures, which I think actually is a really good idea.
Yep.
She gets frustrated though because she can't fill in the blanks of the last 5 years, and even with the pictures, even with trying to jog her memory, she just can't do it. So Leo's there as well, and he does try something that they used to do, which was their thing, which was tickle her, and she just has none of it. Like, get away from me! Why, oh my God! And then she realizes like that was a thing that we had. Oh my God, I can't believe and I think at this point she's frustrated because one, she doesn't remember. Two, she she can't remember all the things that they had together, and she's letting him down.
Yeah, I think she feels like she's letting him down. I also, as I was watching this, I got annoyed with Paige. Like, why would she go back to Jeremy? I was
Yeah.
so pissed because we know the backstory that, we know the story of her love with Leo.
Right.
And then she goes to Jeremy, annoyed me. But then I thought, you know what, you and I, let's play this out.
All right.
Let's say the last thing that you remember, Sarah,
Mm-hmm.
is this moment right now.
Okay.
And you wake up in a hospital bed and there's some guy named Jim at the end of the bed and you're like, who are you? And he's like, we're married. And you say, no, I'm married to Devin. And he says, that was 10 years ago.
You'd have to figure that out for yourself, I think, as to what happened with the relationship and kind of go through that. And I think it also pissed me off that whole part of the story as well, that Paige went and kind of sought out Jeremy and figured all that out. But annoying as that is, I think she had to do it in order to move on.
If I woke up
Yes.
and there was some...
What would you
Kim,
do?
I'd go and find you. I'd be like, well, where's Sarah? I got to talk to her about this.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'd have to go and figure it out.
I was annoyed with Paige,
Yes.
but when you run through your own life and your own scenario...
If it happened to you.
Absolutely. You got to find them and ask them the question, what happened to us?
Yeah, I think you owe it to yourself, but I think you owe it to your current relationship too, as well as the one that you had previously, that to figure out what happened.
Current relationship I have no recollection of. It's
I
funny.
know.
As this movie went on, I got progressively more annoyed with Paige. And then when I sat with it a little bit, I kind of thought, no, wow, like, what do you do?
Yeah.
I don't know if you can make the right decision.
That's a really hard call to make.
Yeah, it is.
I don't wish that upon anyone.
No, no.
That is something. Okay, so Paige later on that day does go to her studio and she walks in and he asks her, you know what, why don't you try stuff out? Maybe your hands will remember, maybe, it'll come back to you. And he says, what you also used to do was you loved to listen to your music really, really loud, and it really got you into the groove and all of that. So he turns it on really loud and she just is having none of it again. She gets very frustrated with him, with the music, with trying to, remember. And she's not the same person, that she was. And he gets frustrated and he leaves. And later on, when Leo comes back from work, Paige's father is there.
Can I say that annoyed me? Like, with the music blaring, you could just tell, like, this is a lot. This is stimulation overload.
Yeah.
Of course.
I think for Leo, he's so desperate for her to remember. And Paige is trying to remember. But again, like you said, it was overstimulus for sure. Maybe he should have introduced it slowly and she would have been a lot more... welcome to receive that.
Judge Sarah's here. Listen, Leo.
Stop.
That's more like psychiatrist Sarah.
Oh my God. Okay. So Paige has decided though that she's going back home to live with her parents.
Oh, gut-wrenching.
And leave this life. And all he says to her is, be careful. Back at work with Leo, he tells Lil, who is his friend, that he's going to be in and out for a while because he needs to be where Paige is at, and Paige is with her family. So he has realized at this point that he needs to make his wife fall in love with him again. And so the first thing that we see is Leo, after this, the first thing we see is Leo at the engagement party for Paige's sister, Gwen. And Leo asks, and I really liked this. I thought this was really neat. Leo asks Paige, like, what's your favorite book? And she says, The Beach House. And he says, okay, what if you lent it to somebody and you wish you could have been in the position to read it for the very first time again? This is how we have to look at this situation. Everything that you're going to be doing with me and all these things that you're going to be making memories with are going to be for the first time again. So let's look at it this way. You're not going to be trying to remember these memories. We're going to make new memories, kind of thing. And basically it's a way for him to convince her to go on a date with him and kind of start a whole new relationship.
I like his way of framing that. What would that be in your life in terms of what do you want to experience for the first time again? Like, I would love to be able to pluck 500 Days of Summer out of my memory and watch it for the first time. I would love to do the same for Crazy Stupid Love. I would love to read Lord of the Rings again for the first time, having no idea about the story.
Yeah, I think for me is it's books, like certain books that I've read, rereading them again for the first time because I love them, and I've read certain series and trilogies over again, and I've waited a while, but it's kind of like it's been new. You kind of know what's happening, but
I already know what you're going to say. Harry frickin' Potter. Sarah
well,
would
yes, I
want to
love Harry
reread
Potter.
Harry Potter for the first time.
yeah. Oh,
Imagine
yeah,
that
for sure.
magical feeling of, wow, this whole world I had no idea about.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Or even like getting on a plane for the first time and going to your favorite place in the world. Being able to travel again for the first time. Like that would be really cool. Like recreating these moments of impact.
Back to the moments of impact.
Yeah, right?
So they go on their a pseudo first date.
They do. Yes. So
Obviously not actually their first date, but Leo is teeing it up like, let's just get back to going on a date.
yeah, so this is my best scene. Is
really?
the date? Yeah, she agrees that they're going to go out on a date, and he brings her to the parking spot where they first met. Brings her to the restaurant that they went to, Mnemonic. Brings her the chocolate and the Russian roulette game that they used to play with that, which is so cute. They go to the lake to swim because they had made a deal that they were going to go swimming once every month for a year, which I thought was really cute. And they do kiss. He professes his love when he's dropping her off, and she doesn't say anything back. And later on, she does have a conversation with her sister, and Gwen says, I really like him. And she goes, I know, I do too. And I think she's struggling with this, like, I'm supposed to know this man, but I don't know this man, but I do have feelings for him. Like, it's a weird thing for her, I'm sure.
Do you think he fumbled the bag with the I love you at the
I
end?
think so.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
I think so.
Because I was watching him like, this is great. And then he's like, he didn't just say I love you. He said a few more things. I'm like, dude, too much. Pump the brakes a little bit.
Like I said, he's desperate for her to remember him, and he's desperate for things to go back to the way that they were, because he loves her so much. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that either. I do think that he kind of foiled it though with kind of professing
a little too
his love.
strong.
Yeah.
He was very subtle the whole day.
I know. He was doing so well. I know.
You were nailing it, Leo.
Yeah. So back at the house, Paige's dad said he has a surprise for her, that he's gotten her back into law school. And she says, oh my God, this is crazy. I'm basically getting a free do-over in life. All the while she's getting a new life, he's getting her medical bills. Leo's getting her medical bills.
Yes. Yeah.
So we're at the wedding now. And so before we dive into the wedding, I want to talk about, so this wedding is very traditional. It's very, backyard garden party, probably cost a lot of money.
It's a rich people wedding.
Right. In
contrast,
yes.
Leo and Paige, they just got married in an art gallery.
Yes.
An art gallery they weren't even allowed to be
I was going to
at.
say, didn't even book it.
They get kicked out.
Yeah. What are some of the craziest places to get married?
I've got a list. Do you have a list?
Okay, I have a list too, and I'm wondering if it's like a similar list.
Is it the same list?
I don't know.
Number 1 on the list. At a Whole Foods?
Oh, yeah.
It's the same list, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, let's name the 4 that we like or dislike the most, and then we'll pick up the rest. Because among the dead, this couple that got married in a graveyard?
Yes.
And there's like Instagram photos to prove like they
did.
They got married here. And there's probably some sentimental value to some family members who couldn't be there, obviously.
I don't know.
Still, though.
I feel like it's just kind of a creepy, cool place to get married. I do.
That's
I totally,
much worse.
I don't think so.
What?
There are people who specifically want to get married on holidays, i.e. Halloween.
But you're saying the romantic nature of a graveyard is a great spot to get married.
Yes. If they wanted a creepy wedding, yes, they'd get married in a cemetery.
You know what? Sarah is a Scorpio, and all the time she's like, I don't demonstrate Scorpio properties. And now you're like, well, there's a lot of romantic value a graveyard. No, what are you talking about?
Well, okay, if you like that kind of vibe, the Halloween-y vibe, then yes, I would agree that is a good place for that couple to get married.
Moving on.
Okay. So my craziest, kind of weirdest, oddest places to get married, a Taco Bell.
Yeah, you know what? If you see the photo, though, I don't know where this Taco Bell was. It is a bougie Taco Bell.
Maybe it's in Las Vegas.
It was a nicer Taco Bell.
Still, though, I wouldn't get married at Taco Bell. It's like, hey, McDonald's, can we get married in your entryway?
The catering would be very.
I was just about to say,
cost effective.
I feel like, what would you all get after? I mean, I don't frequent Taco Bell, so I really don't know. Do you get a bunch of tacos for everybody?
Oh, I thought you were implying something else.
What?
I thought you were implying you're gonna get the shits after. Like,
Well, that too.
That's
that
a horrible
poor white
gift.
dress. Talk about Bridesmaids the movie. Oh, shitting in the street.
Yeah, no kidding. Your poor wedding party.
Oh.
I liked the somebody got married at a gas station.
Oh, why?
I think, like, do you remember that episode of The Office? There's the halfway point between when Jim and Pam she's in the
Oh,
city
yeah.
and he's in Scranton, Pennsylvania. The halfway point was the
Yes.
gas station, so they got engaged at the gas station. Maybe there's something like that.
Maybe. I feel like there'd have to be a story behind all these, like as to why you're doing it.
Yeah.
You
As
know?
somebody who spent a year working at a gas station,
It's
there's also no romantic
No.
value to anybody
There's
for a
nothing.
gas station.
Definitely not. Somebody got married under the sea.
Yes, I saw that.
I actually think that's really cool. You can't actually like vocalize your vows, but
Yeah,
you
it didn't make
can-
my list.
Oh no,
No.
I did think that was kind of weird to have somebody underneath the water, like, or like marry you. Can they do that without saying like, "Do you say I do"? Does it sound like like I don't know, you know?
I like the people who got married at the Whole Foods.
Oh yeah, I feel like it's on par with like a Taco Bell or like a gas station.
I think a Whole Foods is a full
Well,
half step
no,
up
I agree,
from a gas station.
But I believe this particular couple who did, their reasoning was that they wanted to get married in a place that they frequented a lot.
They got engaged in the store's flower aisle.
That's actually that's cute.
That's cute, but like, don't make this
I know.
grocery store your whole
Yeah.
identity.
I was just about to say, like, don't make it your whole world.
I imagine the staff and like the managers of that Whole Foods being like, "Oh my god, the weird
Here they
couple's
are
back.
again.
They're back."
They're back. Yeah, I feel like that would be the like. Do they have an aisle named after themselves at the top of
Seriously.
like the little thing where it says like baking goods, canned soup, blah blah blah? Do they have like the aisle named after them?
Oh, the woman's name is Jacqueline. That's such Jacqueline behavior.
Jacqueline, really?
I don't know.
Do names associate you with specific?
Yes,
like,
a little
activities?
bit. That feels like a Jacqueline move.
Okay, so last for me would be, I think this is really cool. Would be Crazy though, Times Square.
Oh, I hate that one so
Why?
much.
It's
Yeah.
so busy. I feel like it would be so crazy to
It
get
was
married in Times Square.
Not only was it Times Square, Sarah, it was New Year's Eve Times Square. Everybody has horror stories about Times Square on New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve is overrated.
Yeah. Oh, New Year's Eve is
Like
very
as
overrated.
a whole, I can only imagine it being overrated in Times Square,
People
New
wear
York.
diapers
Yes, I
because they
don't-
just can't find washrooms.
I believe that wholeheartedly. Yeah, because
How romantic is
well,
that?
Also, you need to be in your place for so long. Like you can't move when you're there because you don't want to lose your spot in that crowd.
Well, and it would take you like hours just to get out, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
So I see you're in Times Square on New Year's Eve. Horrible. The couple that got married without gravity back in 2009, this New York
That's
couple,
cool.
they got
Weird.
hitched in a gravityless chamber. So what, you're just floating?
I guess, but at least you could hear the person talk maybe instead of underwater. You could put it on like the loudspeaker. Do you take
Sure, yeah. I don't know what the
Interesting.
sentimental value with, like, we just want to be floating while we get married.
Yeah, like I think there's like less interesting or less crazy things you could do and still be original. Right?
Yeah.
And not make a magazine to
Like-
people.
Like a gas station. Yeah, sure.
Sure. Okay, so like I mentioned, they're at Gwen's wedding, and it's as if he isn't even there. Paige has kind of taken her old life and made it her new life, and Leo just kind of skulks around.
Scocks. Is that a word?
You should Google it.
I'm gonna. Why are you moving away from the mic? This is funny.
Skulks?
How would you spell Scocks? Stop looking it up. Just tell me how you'd spell it.
I don't know. Because that's when I put skulks in, it comes up scallops.
So Leo
Did you mean scallops? No.
That's a bad move when you're like, is this word? Is this
It's
real?
like-
and it's like, do you mean scallops?
It's
the
like
things
I've
you eat?
Yeah. No, sir, that's not what I mean. It's like the ads for Walmart. I see memes all the time where it's like you're looking for tampons and they say, "Sorry, we're out. Perhaps try this." And they're like mushrooms. No, sorry, Walmart, that will not work.
That's not gonna cut it. Nice try. I feel like we need a little female
Okay.
anatomy lesson for Walmart. Yeah, keep going.
So forget the word scocks.
Leo is stalking around.
Yeah.
But he's kind of like, he's unhappy.
He's doing his
mopey.
best. He's doing his best
Yes.
there at a place where nobody wants him.
Well,
including
yeah.
Paige. So he, at the reception, Paige's dad comes over and wants to talk to him, and he tells him that it's probably time for the family to take it from here and for him to get out of the picture. He tells Leo, you must be drowning in debt because she didn't have health insurance because of the life she chose, and that's one way you can get out of all of this is to divorce her, and we can handle everything. And so he's basically trying to, in a way, weirdly buy him off. Just say, go away, divorce her, let her have her own life back. And
The dad this whole time has felt a little slimy.
yes.
So this was on brand. Oh, yeah, of course, you want to just cut Leo out.
Yeah. And Leo basically says to Paige's dad, you're a hypocrite because you never came after your fight with your daughter to try and fix things. And this was obviously prior to the accident, and as why they didn't talk. So we kind of know something happened with Paige and her dad at this point. So later on at the wedding, Leo and Jeremy have it out. Jeremy says basically that he's going to get back together with Paige, and Leo punches him in the face. And Leo then leaves the wedding, and this is a weep warning for me. Paige runs after Leo and
Literally trying everything possible to try to save what we have. And you've been throwing yourself at Jeremy.
That's not fair.
It's not fair. I see the way you look at him. I know, because you used to look at me that way.
God.
That's Sarah's weep warning right there.
Yeah, it was so sad. I know you're in love with him because of the way you look at him. And he says, let's be realistic. You're not getting your memory back. And she says, I'm not trying to hurt you. I was disappointing you. I'm not trying to hurt you. I'm just, I'm tired of disappointing you. He says, how can you stand and look at the woman you love and know that it's time to walk away? And she says, I hope one day I can love the way that you love me. Oh, God. And he says, you figured it out once, you'll do it again. And then he leaves.
So now they're properly not given up, but he's basically resigned himself to defeat, I guess.
Yeah, you know what? They signed the papers for divorce, and Paige has already signed them when he gets the papers. So he knows that Paige also wants this divorce.
Yep.
So they are now officially divorced. And this is kind of where we understand how and why Paige left her family that 5 years ago. So at the supermarket, Paige runs into a woman named Diane, and Diane says, I never got a chance to apologize.
I was just going through a really weird time, but your dad ended it as soon as your mother confronted him about us. And I just always wanted you to know that.
Diane had a relationship, an affair with Paige's father.
Dun, dun, dun.
And that is the reason why she left. Because and on top of that, because I think her mom also didn't leave. Paige's mom didn't leave her dad either.
The dad was doing it with Paige's childhood friend.
Yeah, weird.
Very weird. And then Paige goes to confront her mom about it. Basically saying why did you even stay with him? Why didn't you guys tell me?
Do you have any idea how betrayed I feel right now?
I'm sorry, Paige. We were happier than we'd been in years.
Oh, Mom!
We finally had you back again.
Back on your terms!
Paige does say, you know what, maybe Leo's right. I can't figure out who I am being around all of you. I need to figure it out for myself. And everything that she did 5 years ago, she moves back to the city. She officially kind of ends things. Not that anything had restarted with Jeremy, but she officially says, Jeremy, we're not getting back together. Go fly a kite. And she goes back to school. She doesn't go back to school to be a lawyer. She drops out of law school again. And she goes back to the Art Institute to become a sculptor. So she tries to kind of put her own life together with herself being the priority. The only difference between prior to her accident and now is that she does keep in contact with her family. She forgives her dad, she forgives her mom, and she says you're not going to lose me again. I'm going to, still be around and be your daughter and have a relationship with you, but I need to do this for myself. So in her new apartment that she has in the city, in a box, she finds her vows written on the mnemonic menu. And interestingly enough, at the same time, he's going to the mnemonic cafe and it's closed. So they kind of just both meet at the Mnemonic restaurant, and they say hi, and she tells him that she, moved to the city 6 months ago. She's back at the Art Institute taking classes, and she says, thank you. And he says, I didn't do anything. And she says,
Thank you.
I didn't do anything.
You did everything. You accepted me for who I am and not for what you wanted me to be.
I just wanted you to be happy.
so she tells him that her memories aren't back. But she's been hanging out with her friend Sonia and asking her about their relationship. And she knows that he's not seeing anybody right now, and asks if he asks if she's single, and she says yes. And then they end up going to eat at a new place that both of them haven't been to make new memories. So we assume that they're together.
Yes, yeah, they're together. That's 2 wee mornings for Sarah.
2 or 3, I think, actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
0 for Dev.
I know.
We've switched places.
What are you?
We need
who
to
are
do
you?
more like drama romances because they clearly they get to the core of Sarah.
They do, but I know I don't want to watch them because they make me cry. It's sad.
You don't think that's so cathartic to
No.
cry while watching a rom-com?
No.
It's just a release of emotions. It's great.
What are emotions? Quick facts.
Quick facts.
This movie is loosely based on the true story of Kim and Cricket Carpenter. November 24th, 1993, 2 months after getting married, their car was hit from behind by a truck. Cricket had a massive head trauma and left her in a coma for weeks. When she emerged out of the coma, she did not know who her husband was, and she never regained her memory. Channing Tatum revealed in an interview with Ellen DeGeneres that he wore an oversized prosthetic for the scene where he walks naked in front of Rachel McAdams because he wanted to get a realistic reaction out of her. Apparently, this was the take that was used in the final cut of the movie.
Sorry, I don't mean to be crass, but he was like, "Give me a fake dong."
Yeah.
Surprise her with.
Yeah, I guess so.
Once.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's genius because that reaction was definitely realistic, right? Otherwise she may not have been as
So
surprised.
there's a scene in the show Parks and Recreation that also happens with Chris Pratt.
Okay.
So he's because
Oh yeah, Parks and Rec. Okay. Oh yes, it is.
so he's going to the door and Amy Poehler is there and she swings open the door and he's supposed to be naked, but he talked about this in an interview how he was wearing nude underwear, which is very common.
Yeah.
And they kept on not getting the reaction that they wanted.
Right.
So eventually he was telling the boom mic guy, he's like, "Yo, I'm gonna pull my dick out on this one." And the guy's like, "I don't think you should." And he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna do it." And they ended up using that take.
They did. Because it was the best reaction.
Because it was the best reaction.
Yeah.
But also NBC, the people who produce it were absolutely never do that again. That's not appropriate
Not
for a
allowed.
workplace. I mean, luckily Amy Poehler clearly thought it was hilarious.
She'd
but
go along with that for sure. Channing and Rachel ate about 20 truffles each when they were shooting the Mnemonic Cafe scene and ended up with upset stomachs. I mean, obviously eating that much chocolate in one sitting for sure.
Jesus.
Channing Tatum learned to play guitar for this movie. There's a scene in the movie where he plays a song he wrote for his wife, who he feels he has lost. Channing Tatum injured his foot playing indoor basketball midway through filming, and some scenes you can see him limping slightly. When Channing Tatum was approached for the role of Leo, he initially passed on the role. However, a few weeks later, he called the director and accepted. The director, Michael, based a lot of the anecdotes in the movie on his real-life experiences. Examples of this are the first scene where they show the snow, where they're walking to their car, and the care box that Leo gives Paige when she's sick. The wedding vows were inspired by the director's friend's vows, and finally Paige's career, which was inspired by the director's sister and brother-in-law, who are both artists. The cafe that Leo and Paige frequent is called the Cafe Mnemonic. A mnemonic device is a learning technique used to help with memory. Both Rachel McAdams and Channing Tatum have starred in a film based on a novel by Nicholas Sparks. Rachel McAdams starred in The Notebook in 2004, and Channing Tatum starred in Dear John in 2010. This is the second movie in which Channing Tatum stars alongside an actress from Mean Girls, the first being Dear John. And in that movie, Channing Tatum stars alongside Amanda Seyfried. Meatloaf's I'd Do Anything for Love, the song that Leo sings along with on the radio in the very beginning of the movie, was the #1 song on the Billboard Hot 100 chart in November 1993 when Kim and Cricket Carpenter, the couple the movie's based off of, were involved in a serious car accident that left Cricket with a brain trauma. Rachel McAdams had to speak to a neurosurgeon about how to play her character's brain injury authentically. The set designer had a lot of furniture custom built for the loft set, which the director liked so much that he ended up purchasing it after filming.
What a great little gambit.
I know.
Hey guys, we're going to need some custom furniture for this thing, and then I'm going to take it home with me. But
Yeah.
that's a
Furnish
great
your
way.
whole entire place.
I was about to say, he probably just furnished his house on the budget of this film. Good job.
Channing Tatum didn't want to be shirtless in the scene where he takes out the trash after his divorce, thinking it was gratuitous nudity. He played rock, paper, scissors with the director to decide. Luckily for all of his fans, he lost the bet.
I was going to say, you're casting Channing Tatum in a romance. Let's see the abs, dude. Also, this movie came out the same year as Magic Mike, so we knew.
Oh, yeah.
We knew he had
He was
it.
fit.
Yeah, you can't lie about it. It's under there.
Channing Tatum asked the director to change Paige's name in the script because his sister's name is Paige, but unfortunately he asked a little too late, and the script was already all ready to go. So he eventually got over the weirdness. I mean, I think you would. The part where Paige is the passenger in the car, she rolls up the window after asking if Leo just farted, is, according to the director, based on true occurrence of Stuart Sunder's story. It was initially going to be cut from the movie, but testing audiences loved that scene. This was the final movie produced by Spyglass Entertainment, and until they revamped it and relaunched it under a new name, Spyglass Media Group. That was relaunched in 2019. The studio that Rachel McAdams' character Paige works in is a real studio. Much of the artwork featured in the movie was the director's sister's artwork. The director revealed that the script initially had a lot of lines which made Rachel McAdams' character Paige sound bitchy. These were edited to show a full picture of her aggression, frustration, and regret, and less of a bitchiness. The loft that Channing Tatum and Rachel McAdams' character lived in was a real loft in Toronto and not a set. Initially, the French-inspired loft was minimally dressed to depict a time when Leo and his friends lived there in their bachelor pad. It was completely revamped to show a woman's touch after Paige moved in. Most of the filming was shot in Toronto, but set in Chicago, so the Chicago skyline is seen in some of the scenes using CGI. Julia Roberts was attached to the lead role until producers opted for younger leads. Kristen Schaal, Lacey Chabert, Maya Rudolph, Alex Penavega were all auditioned. They all auditioned for the role of Paige. Barbara Hershey, Rose Byrne, Patricia Clarkson, Stacey Travis, Melissa McCarthy, Anne Hathaway auditioned for the role of Lily. Leo reveals that it only took Paige 2 weeks to fall in love with him. In the movie Dear John, which also stars Channing Tatum, it also took Amanda Seyfried's character 2 weeks to fall in love with Channing Tatum's character.
We believe it, I'm assuming. He's extremely charismatic.
Yes, most definitely.
Honorable mentions.
My honorable mention is Rachel McAdams. Her consistency to be phenomenal in romance movies.
Oh.
And each character is different and comes with different passions, different challenges, but you love their characters, and she does such a fantastic job at truly encompassing that character and delivering home every time.
I agree. I think, like, just because she does a lot of romances, we think, like, okay, like, this is kind of Rachel McAdams' area, but she is different in a lot of these roles. We just did The Family Stone, and unless I really think about it, I'm not like, oh, right, that was another, like, she was Rachel McAdams in that. Like, no, she was a completely different character than this character.
I mean, Regina George in Mean Girls.
Sarah.
I can't remember the character's name. She played in True Detective, but she was awesome in that. Like, she does have a wide range, but you know, she does play a lot of roles in these romance movies, but she does such a good job, and every character is different. I really, really like her in these movies.
Absolutely. My honorable mention, and it is a small honorable mention, but I was watching this film, and I did not watch Orphan Black, but I am aware that She-Hulk also happened, you know, a little bit into the Marvel thing. I saw Tatiana Maslany in this, and I'm like, oh my God, there's Tatiana Maslany. Are we going through a little bit of a Maslany sauce? Maslany-ance? I don't know. I don't know if that's a thing. But I just feel like she is in her later 30s, but like, are we all just coming to terms with like, oh, Tatiana Maslany is a good actress?
She's a great actress.
Like, I've heard amazing things about her on Orphan Black.
Well, yeah, she won. I'm pretty sure she won some awards or was nominated for some awards for Orphan Black.
And then, like, Marvel, being in anything Marvel is a massive deal. Like, if this comes with a few movies as well, like, she would be set up to kind of be like a star over the next, decade or so.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, everything she's in or everything she does, she does it really well. She is really good.
What should have been?
Okay, so my what should have been is like, it stressed me out knowing, because I had seen this movie before, but it stressed me out knowing that she was going to go back to her parents.
Yeah.
Like, it just, that stress, like, I just could have done without that stress.
All of the hospital stuff, it really, like, when they were like, no, she's coming home, I also got stressed. Like, no, she can't, she shouldn't.
But I know that, like, she had to go through all of that in order to, like, really come to terms with, like, the relationship she had with Leo and, like, go through all the motions herself and not be, like, told to do it. But again, knowing me and how I like rom-coms to end, or romantic movies to end, I really wish, we could have seen them getting married again.
Yeah. And that actually leads into my what should have been, because my what should have been is that I don't want the real life story of these individuals now in 2023 to sour you on this movie. So fun fact, they did, like, 3 years after the accident, they did renew their vows.
Right.
So the real life story.
Well, they got married again.
Yes. The real life story you talked about in your quick facts, based off of Kim and Cricket Carpenter, happened back in the early 90s. Fun fact, just back in 2018, like only a few years ago, Cricket Carpenter revealed to the media, yeah, actually, we're getting a divorce. Kim has been cheating on me.
Right. Yes,
he
had an affair.
He had an affair. There was infidelity in the relationship. And so we're getting a divorce, which is kind of exactly what you're talking about. Like, oh, I wonder how this story ends. Well, in real life, we know how it ends. And here's the thing. The movie is very loosely based off of their true story.
Yes.
It's basically like they took the concept of the accident and losing the memory and they ran with it. So it's not exactly the same. But yeah, I read that. I'm like, oh, well, that sucks. I don't want that to make anybody feel weird about this movie. The movie's great. The real life people got divorced. Who cares?
Yeah, they got divorced after 25 years of marriage. And it's funny because, like, so she lost her memory at the very beginning of, like, all of their relationship, right? She basically forgot all their relationship. I don't know, if she was engaged to somebody else, if she didn't talk to her parents. Like, you don't know.
Correct, yeah.
I don't know. I haven't read the book, right?
Yeah.
But if that were the case, he stuck around. He fought for her, and then 25 years or however long after, 25 years later, I guess, or so, he cheats and bye. And we don't know if they went to counseling or to try to put things together, but it is an unfortunate situation to see them split after such a love story,
Well, and that's the last thing I'm going to end with. Your life is the story of a Hollywood produced romantic comedy.
Yeah.
Somebody thought that your story was so impactful. They're like, we're going to make a movie with it. We're going to cast Rachel McAdams. You're going to be Channing Tatum,
We're going to make millions.
We're going to make millions of hundreds of millions of dollars. This movie almost made $200 million at the box office.
Yeah, really well done.
And you're going to it up by cheating? Come on, dude.
Yeah.
Imagine, like, The Notebook is the story of our lives, and then you go and cheat?
Yeah.
Like, shut up. Yeah. Why would you do that? I'm just taking shots at Kim Cricket here, but don't let that, you can watch the movie and not even think about them.
Yes, and I mean, like, as you know, there were a few weep warnings for Sarah in this one.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Overall rewatchability.
Okay, so my rewatchability is as follows. Chemistry, 4.75. Storyline, 4. Thirst Factor, 5. Imagination, 3.85. Soundtrack, 4. Cheese, 3.2 for an overall score of 4.13 out of 5.
Okay, our scores are very close this time. I've got Chemistry, a 4.2.
Okay.
Storyline, a 4. Thirst Factor, a 4.7. Channing Tatum, Rachel McAdams.
I know, it's like a 5.
I said almost perfect, but yeah, like I'm not dismissing your 5.
He's even coming off a Magic Mike.
He's coming off a Magic Mike, or actually, I think Magic Mike was later on that same year.
Oh, okay. Same
set of abs.
Yeah, exactly.
Imagination, I'm giving it a 3. soundtrack a 3.5, and she's a 4 for an overall score of 3.9 out of 5.
Okay.
Very close to being a great movie, and I'm sure some of you listening, it is a great movie in your books. Totally. The thing that I feel about this movie is that, like, there's not a big hole to poke in anything. Like, there are some movies where it's like, this is a 5, but that's like a 2, and, you know, it all comes out in the wash. But this movie, like, there's nothing that's not good about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's
No, I
either
think
good
you're
or
right.
great in all categories. And this has been the Rom-Com Rewind of The Vow. If you're listening to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever, please give us a follow. Leave reviews. They help more people find us. And if you hear something on any of our podcasts, Sarah responds to 100% of our Instagram DMs, even if you just want to shoot the shit and chat. At Romcom Rewind on Instagram. We also got TikTok, romcomrewind@gmail.com if you want to fire us an email.
Thanks for listening.